Hey guys, Greg with BTOD TV and BTOD.com, and today's stability test. We're going to be taking a closer look at the updated Vari Electric Standing Desk. Now, if you haven't had a chance to watch these videos before, we like to look at a standing desk stability at various heights with various weights applied to the surface. Now, if you'd like to learn more about those weights and heights and why we picked them, I definitely want you to check out the link in the top right-hand corner, which is a video about standing desk stability testing explained. With that, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Vari Electric Standing Desk. Before we go ahead and show you our first 100-pound test for stability, we want to talk about a few things. Number one is the setup. You can see we do have the desk set here with a couple cinder blocks, smaller dumbbell, and the weight of the surface to hit the 100-pound mark. This desk has a range of about 25 inches to just over 50 inches, so we'll be checking the bottom height, top height, and then a couple heights in between there that are heights that most people would be using in around the averages of heights for males and females in the United States. You also want to take note, with the new product from Vari, there is a big change, and it's the fact that it doesn't have a traditional cross support underneath the surface running between the lower part of the column. This was a big change that they recently made, so if you haven't had a chance to watch the other videos where we've talked about stability, you want to check those out to see if there's a big difference between the original Vari to the current one. I'm interested myself, so let's go ahead and find out how this desk performs. Now, at the lowest height, 25 inches, we're going to check the wobble motion left to right and then the rocking motion front to back first. And no problems there at all with wobble, and same thing with the rocking, nice and solid. We'll go ahead and take it to 39 inches. Now, this is the average height for people to stand at if they're females in the United States, which is about 5'4". So we can tell at the 39 there is some movement. It's, you know, everything is staying pretty well together, but I mean there is some movement here, and it's, you know, you can kind of get it going. So that's interesting, because in the previous Vari desk, what they called Vari desk, now they call themselves Vari rebrand, they had the traditional cross support between the legs, and you didn't have any of that motion. So that's interesting to me. Now front to back, super solid. There's literally no movement there. I mean, you can see I'm pushing into it really hard, nothing. So that's good for sure. We'll take it up to 42.5. We'll try the same thing now. We'll do the wobble test first. And you can see there is movement there on the wobble side, but rocking, it was very stout at the last height, and it's remained really stout now as well. So definitely a difference here between what we saw with the traditional cross support to their change of going away from it on the wobble front. However, the front to back rocking is really good on this desk. So we'll take it up to max height, which is just over 50 inches. This again is going to be the worst that a standing desk will perform. And you can see our Fila weight up there, you know, has no problem moving on top of the surface. So you can definitely get this thing wobbling without that traditional cross support. Front to back, you know, this is again the worst that this desk is going to perform. There is movement here, but this is way up high, and so this is to be expected because of the lack of overlap in the columns and it just being so far from the floor. Still, I think it's pretty good. So front to back, much better than left to right on the Vari. So we'll take it down to the bottom height. And because of its larger lifting capacity, we'll be able to test a couple more weights here, so we're going to test 200 next. For our second test, we've got the Vari product set to 200 pounds. It's at the bottom height. Let's go ahead and see how it does. You can see at the bottom, no issues there with the wobble. Same thing with the front to back. We'll take it up to 39 inches. You know, again, at 39 inches, you can see you can get it moving. Front to back, though, you know, there's maybe a little bit more movement, but I mean, it's really solid through the frame. So front to back, really good. Left to right, more motion for sure. We'll take it to 42.5. You can see I'm not really pushing too hard on here. And you can see that motion. You can see actually the legs are hopping a little bit there too, once you get it going. So without that traditional cross support, there's definitely a difference. Front to back though, still pretty good. So front to back good. We take it up to the max height. Now at our max height, this is where you expect it to be the worst, and of course, this is gonna be then the easiest to make this wobble. And you know, one of the issues that we find, and you can see it happening here, now does it impact you using your desk? You know, I don't really know, but you don't have a traditional cross support. It's not as easy to keep the feet firmly planted on the floor. So that's why you see the legs hopping. And now that's not necessarily a great thing for how they move when they're moving up and down. You want everything to remain nice and square. And so once you start to get that kind of moving around on the floor, it's going to impact performance. It can have issues in the columns. You can have false positives trigger with collision avoidance, things like that, errors popping up. So that's one of the nice things about having a traditional cross support running between the columns here. It's going to keep things better planted on the floor. So again, there's the wobble. And there's the rocking. We'll take it back down, and then we will be maxing out the Vari and showing you the 4 heights again. For our final test with the Vari Electric Standing Desk, we've got it set up with its max capacity, which is 260 pounds. So we'll run through the different heights here and show you how it performs. Now at the bottom height, I would expect that it's going to be solid, which it is. And same is true for front to back rocking, nice and solid. Now we'll take it up to 39 inches. Now 39 inches, you can see you can definitely get it wobbling at 39 inches, which isn't a surprise because of everything we've seen before, and this is a lot of weight on the surface. Now rocking, I think it's still really stout, so there's definitely movement you can get going on the wobble, but I think for the front to back, I think it's good. Now, when we take it up to 42.5, you know, this is quite a bit different than what I'm doing when we have less weight. You know, a lot of times with these desks that are really stable left to right, you'll see it with the traditional cross support. I'll be grabbing onto the sides and, you know, really putting a lot of effort into it. I'm not having to put too much effort into this at all to get it to move. And again, because it's missing the traditional cross support, it's lacking that lateral stability that it had when it was its previous version. But the front to back, it's still really good. I mean, you can get it to move a little bit, but I'm putting quite a bit of force into it to do that. But I think, you know, really solid through. And then we'll max it out. You know, so same thing here. You can see I'm not putting a lot of effort into it. Same thing's happening with the feet. You can see the feet sliding on the floor. You can see them, you know, moving inward. Front to back, there's definitely more rocking motion here, but it's a tremendous amount of weight on the surface. It's fully extended. It's going to be its weakest point. So what do I think of the Vari Electric Standing Desk from a stability standpoint? I think, number one, it is not as laterally stable as it once was. So the previous version with the traditional cross support, it was better from a lateral stability standpoint. Front to back, I do think that this is actually probably a better product than it was before. So maybe that's the natural trade-off of the design change that they had with this particular frame and some of the things that they may have done within the columns themselves, fit-wise and things of that nature. But overall, you know, this is a desk that has quite a bit of range, and for a front to back desk, it's pretty solid. So I mean, that's something that you'll want to consider if front to back is stability that you're concerned with. Left to right stability, lateral stability though, you know, without having a traditional cross support or the wedge system that you see on some of the other products up in the upper part of the frame, it's lacking in stability there. So hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future standing desk content. Thanks a lot for watching.